If you guys want to move chairs up front a little bit closer, that's totally fine as well. But welcome to the studio for you guys that are out there in computer land or internet land. This is the home recording studio. So it's 16-foot ceilings that are in here, and I think most of you got to see, if you haven't had a chance to get over into the dead room before you leave, we don't keep bodies there, but you can go in there and the sound gets eaten up. Studio for you guys that are out there, we can almost keep the F-35s completely out when you're inside of it. So it's like double walled, double studded, extra insulation, and then there's a thing called mass-loaded vinyl. It's essentially like wrapping a little rubber tire around the entire place as well to eat up sound, and then you take another layer of sheet metal on top of it. So kind of fun. Anybody who wants to talk engineering, construction stuff with me. I got all kinds of stories about the boxes up on top too. So, but welcome. So these concerts have become kind of this fun way to just bring people in, and it's a very unique type of place where you get in the big theaters where there's 700 or 1,000 or 1,500 people, and usually what happens is if you're the guy on stage, you get this blinding light, and it's just this sea of black. But welcome. It's kind of cool to hear people clap, but you really don't know that there's anybody out there unless they clap for you. So it's a very different experience. This is what I like about this is it gets to feel like you're in a living room. And honestly, I think usually what happens is if you're the guy on stage, you get this blinding light. And Mike and I think we went toilet papering together back in the day. So I think we did all kinds of stuff. His dad's here. So anyway, we're going to start out, and then we've got a treat with my really close friends, John. But I'm going to start out with Joy to the World on the piano. And honestly, I think usually what I've done, I've had you're the guy on stage, you get this blinding light. And Mike and I think we went toilet papering together back in the day. So we did all kinds of stuff. So anyway, we're going to start out, and we've got a treat. This is what I like. So we're going to introduce John Knudson. So who's been here before and has heard John play? A couple of you? Not too many of you. So John, we've been playing for how many years now? A lot of years. 5 or 6. So it's longer than that. That's got to be longer than that. I think it's actually been like 7, might be 7, 8. Anyway, 8 years. She knows. But John has. I always wanted a violinist. It was kind of like you want a violinist for Christmas type of thing, because I'd write. Right? I've always written all these songs, and it's fun to play with yourself on the piano, but then it's fun when you do a duet, and there's not very many people that do duets. Piano duets they're fun, but like getting a violin or a cello, you got John, he's got his cello guy, and I got my violin guy. So, John, tell him a little bit of background, where you came from, a little bit there.
Well, I was born in Michigan. Oh, not that far.
He's a Brigham City guy. Come on.
Well, yeah, I grew up in Brigham City. I was born in Michigan. I'm just seeing blank right now.
All right. So he's played a lot of violin. So you grew up here in Brigham City learning violin, right?
I grew up in Brigham City. Everything that I did though was basically over at Utah State. We were just talking about this because we live in Logan now, but I think it was either 3rd grade or 4th grade. We traveled. I went to public school for a year in Logan, and so we drove back and forth every day from Brigham to Logan. And, I hated that canyon. But growing up, I was kind of a closet violinist, and because I always wanted to play like saxophone or electric guitar, and violin was not cool, and I just kept getting better at it. And I guess like my senior year, I kind of said, okay, I play the violin. And then, I won competitions all over the place. It paid for my bachelor's degree, it paid for my master's degree, and went back east and did my graduate program in DC and stayed there and played full-time violin for a number of years and moved back here about 10 years ago.
And when he says he played full-time violin, like he played like gigs almost multiple times a night, right?
Yeah, I was doing 250, 300 performances a year.
So like presidential inaugural balls and White House, Kennedy Center, it's like big deal. And you played for we got to count how many. Just he's played for a few presidents.
Bill Clinton, George Bush, Obama, and I guess when Biden was with him. Trump before he was president, I did his New Year's Eve party down in Mar-a-Lago, Florida.
Kind of cool. So you got to play the Obama one. You got kind of a fun. It was just you. You want to tell your story? You got to listen to the story.
So it was really cool. So they had Billy Joel there that night, and I was being able to play Piano Man with the Piano Man, and I thought, when I was out there on the dance floor playing it, and I was just thinking, I'm killing it tonight, because everybody's just clapping, everybody's just going nuts, and then I turn around, and it was actually the president and the first lady had stood up, and they were dancing behind me. It wasn't me. Dang it. But it's just, stuff like that, it was fun, It was a very different lifestyle back there than it is in Logan.
And what's fun is we can, when we get together, he's like the only person I know who can literally just go with the flow and follow you, or at least pretend like we're following each other. So we're going to play a song. So the next one we're going to do is Away in a Manger, mashed up with Jesus Wants a Humble Birth. And this is in one of my books. You probably heard, if you listen to my music, you probably heard it, but it's one of the few that I've actually done with a full orchestra. And so I got to introduce you tonight. So this is
my first time.
John Knudson is a Grammy-nominated artist as well. So I should have just started with that. Come from Brigham City, right? I go into Brigham City, but he was. If you've played any Harry Potter video game stuff like Hogwarts Legacy, so for the last 6 years, my friend Chuck, who may or may not come tonight, he may make it. He's going to try to come up, but he was the lead composer on Hogwarts Legacy, and it was a 6-7 year project. And the lead intro trailer thing is actually John playing his viola. And they picked a viola because, what was the reason? It was because nobody wants a viola,
like
right?
The oddball kid underneath the stairs.
And so rather than having a violin, you take the viola that, usually gets the back seat and has to sit, away from everybody else. And so he's actually he plays viola as well. But let's do Away to Manger, and then we'll tell some more stories. We got to play some music for these people. And all the streaming stuff is working, Tyler? Everything's good? Let's see.
It's on right now.
It's on? Okay. I'm going to pull it up on mine so I can see some comments. If you guys are out there and want to comment, if it sounds good, let us know where you're coming from. And
Stay away in a manger.
yeah, let's do that one first. Let's see if this will let me do it. Looks like we got about 10. All right, here we go. We're going to do kind of a mix of a bunch of Christmas songs, and some that you'll recognize, some that you won't. This next one I doubt you're probably going to recognize. Has anybody heard of See a Midwinter Snow before? Not one hand. Well, I got one hand. My wife has. Stacy's here.
Does anybody know what a mid is in the snow?
I don't either. I ran across this tune probably about a year and a half ago, and it was like February, and so Christmas was all over, and all of a sudden this video popped up of this choir singing this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so pretty. Went and looked it up, and it's actually a public domain song that was written a little over 100 years ago, and it's just, it's really, really pretty. If you got your phone, if you just look up the lyrics to See a Midwinter Snow, if you want to follow along while we play it, it's just one of those really gorgeous songs, and one of these days we'll get a whole choir in here to sing with us too for fun. But this is one of my new favorite Christmas tunes. So earlier tonight, I think we had all of our set list done, and my mom asked me to play "Oh Holy Night," and so we pulled it up and played it, and I think it was the first time we ever played it together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Is that what we're doing now?
yeah, let's just
Okay.
do "Holy Night." We'll get that. So you got to have "Oh Holy Night," right? This one's a little more peppy in parts of it, so I think we need to wake everybody up a little bit. But this was written as a piano solo, and so you're essentially going to watch John. I mean, you know the song, obviously, but he's gonna.
I've seen it once.
He's got my piano music, and he's gonna do this like magic violin guy thing as we go. So
Just a minute.
we honestly we have not practiced. We played through this one time, and it was like, oh, that kind of worked.
Yeah.
So I have no idea if he's gonna nail it again. I hope you do. You always do. All right, we'll just see if my fingers can keep up. It looks like we've got people out watching, so it looks like I see it absolutely beautiful and sounds good. Put a comment out there if you guys are listening on there, just so we know it's still sounding good. So here we go. Oh Holy Night. Maybe we need to write a real part for it next time, right? Have him write some of this down. You think it's good? All right. So do that again every time then.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, I'm trying to think. Actually, there's a. Does anybody know the story behind the "O Holy Night" and where that came from? No. Nobody knows the story of that song. Mom, you up for telling a story? So my mom, for those of you who don't know, so we've had a chance to work with Glenn Rawson quite a bit over the last several years, and we've published a lot of stories for him. And my mom is really, really good at researching and telling stories, but she's kind of that, I don't think she's realized she's as good a storyteller as she really is. So I'm going to make her get up here and come tell the story. You got to do it in the mic though so everybody can hear it. Is that okay? You just go, you know the story. You don't need to read out of the book. Just come tell the story. So the cool thing is this, the "O Holy Night," it's actually was a bar song so it was not a, people didn't, although people loved it, but certain people didn't love it. So come tell the story about the song.
And I don't have the names, so they're exactly right. But the person that wrote the words to the song, this was back in France, and it was, the guy was kind of on the edge of he wasn't really active in their Catholic faith. And the priest asked him if he would write words to a song for the Christmas Eve Mass. And the song was written, the fellow that wrote the song, he only had one arm. When he was playing with his friend, and they were playing with guns like they weren't supposed to, and his arm got shot off. But he became a lawyer, and then he came back to the town, and he was a wine merchant, and he was really, really very successful. So the priest said, "Will you write these words to the song?" And so in a stagecoach on the way to Paris, these words were written. And then he asked his friend, who was he wrote ballets. I think he wrote the ballet for Giselle, and he was quite a good musician, and he wrote the music for it. And it was performed on Christmas Eve, and people loved it. And for a few years, the Catholic Church, they sanctioned it, and it was good. Well, Placide was the guy's first name that wrote the words, and he became a socialist. And he wasn't supporting the government or he was kind of supporting the revolution, and the Catholic Church got mad at that. And so they they banned the song, but by then the people loved it, and it was all over it was banned from singing it in the Catholic Church, but so they sang it in the bars and in their, just on the streets, and it became the people's song, and so the church couldn't do anything about it to get rid of the song. And it came over to Quebec, and they loved singing it there, and it was considered a real honor to be asked to be the soprano that would sing the song. And then in the early 1800s, they discovered it in the United States, and it became famous over here. And so it was a song of the people, and it still is today a song of the people.
So, my mom and I always joke with my mom that I tell people, how did you learn they ask, well, how did you learn how to practice or how to play like that? And I say, I had a mean mom that made me practice piano. So I think that's, it wasn't as bad as maybe I make it out to be, but it's fun to tell a good story like that, right? So luckily she won the piano war with her son, but what's been really fun over the last couple of years is she's helped with Glenn, but we've done these Stories of the Hymns books. I don't know if anybody's seen them, but we just came out with a brand new one, this volume 2. So we thought we were mostly done when we got this one done. And my mom's done almost half the stories in both books. And then we've got these stories of Christmas as well. And Oh Holy Night's in this one, I'm sure, on that one, right? Yeah, so anyway, if you need good Christmas gifts, we've got lots of books back here that you can, these go great with a plate of cookies. So just heads up on that. And anyway, so the next one I want to do, if we do in the Bleak Midwinter, you got one you want to do? So John and I he showed up like a couple hours before and we hadn't practiced or anything. And so we're really.
No, we always do it.
well, we usually are a little bit more prepared. He just works too hard these days. So let's do In the Bleak Midwinter, and then I've got one I want to do special. So I don't know really the story behind In the Bleak Midwinter, but I know that the Tabernacle Choir sang this song with Sissel. If anybody hasn't heard of Sissel, she's like this Norwegian amazing singer she's so good. And anyway, so she sings this with the Tabernacle Choir, but this is our version. And this one, actually, you just barely learned the song. I had to play the song for him with Sissel singing it so we could learn how it goes. So we're going to, I need to get a violin part written out for you eventually on this one too. So here's In the Bleak Midwinter. Follow along with me, right?
La, 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 la.
So, so John and I were joking a little bit. Right when he got here, I pulled out 3 songs that were just partially written, and you literally, we play like the first 2 or 3 pages, and then it just ends, and there's just like blank notes. So just to motivate me and him, I think what we'll do is, normally we wouldn't do this, we'd be more prepared, but I want you to kind of see kind of behind the scenes what happens when we're writing something out. And so I'll come up with an idea or a sketch, and then I'll just put it in front of him, and then eventually it just ends, and we'll probably stop, like, you're gonna be like, well, wait, what's the end of it? I think there's potential on several of these. So this first one, let's do a Come Emmanuel. So I actually wrote this, I finished it at like 1 a.m., It was 2 nights ago. And then I was really busy, and then today I just threw it in the computer really quick. So
For
it's
any
got
that
typos.
you can see, there's like notes up here at the top, and then there's just blank measures.
So, I mean, this is, and what's funny is, so this is actually way further along than it normally works. So I have so Alex, who's a friend from Ireland, I'd never heard anybody call them dots, but she doesn't know how to read music. And so she says, I can't read dots. And so there's dots that are like clean dots that actually mean something, and then you have my scribble handwriting on the iPad or the manuscript paper, and those are dots where sometimes if I don't even write the note, I'll write like just letters like E, F, I'll just write. So I have like this weird like hybrid language that I don't think a lot of people can follow. You don't think you can follow most of the time on some of my stuff that I do.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's play this one for you. Just when we stop and just like start messing up, it's probably because the music finished like 5 measures before and we were just making it up as we went. So here's behind the scenes of what happens a little bit with this. So, all right, you ready? If you want to change anything, you don't have to follow. So I've written stuff on there, but his thing might be better than whatever I wrote. So just follow me. Oh, I gotta go into the flats. Hang on.
Thank you.
There we go. Ready? Ended on a major, right? All right. Should we do this one? So there's a story behind this one, and I'm doing this. Normally is not a Christmas song, but it's one that a lot of times when I'm writing music, I'll have songs come to me and I'll be out hiking, or I'll be floating down a river, or in the shower. I mean, usually there's like melodies that'll just hit you, and then they just stick in your head. And I think it happens to a lot of us, especially if you listen. A lot of my kids, they're always singing in the shower and just do that, and they have these ideas. But I think what happens is we don't grab those ideas and write them down, and then I think eventually you lose the ability to probably remember and write those songs down. On this one in particular, happened to me back. I was probably like 22 years old, and I was floating down the river up in Jackson Hole, and I was in this little ducky, and I was with one of my best friends who is, and Ducky is like a one-man inflatable kayak. So it's like a little raft for one person. And we were floating down in the rapids, and this song, I started like kind of humming, and sometimes that happens when I float down rivers, but there was this bald eagle that came down, and usually if you're lucky you get to see one bald eagle when you float that section of river, but this bald eagle came down, grabbed a fish. It's the only time I've actually seen one grab a fish while he was there, and then he flew off and up into the tree, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was so cool. And this song hit me, and I start singing it as we're going down the river, and I'm singing it loud because I'm like, oh, I kind of like this, it's catchy, but my buddies were with me, and I didn't want them to like think that was, it's not like part of the manly manual. Page 3 says you can't like sing out loud like soft songs to yourself.
He gets his man card taken away.
Yeah, right. Verse 7, page 3, on the manly manual says you can't do that. And so, but I sang this song almost for like 40 minutes, and I kind of distanced myself from them so they wouldn't know I was actually doing that. But I finally, when we got back to the cars, I'd sung it enough times that I sang it a little bit in the car in my head, that I was able to write it down. So that's rare when you're on the river to be able to do that. And it sounded like, it's just what it sounded like. It was a soundtrack for me. And it was a fun song. And then I remember it was probably like, I don't know, Kim, was it 15 years ago I came out to Grantsville, or longer than that? Probably, anyway, so I did this little, it was in Twilla, I think is where we did it, or was it Grantsville? Twilla, yeah. So I was doing this for Kim. She's an awesome piano teacher out there, but she had me there, and I played this song. And her husband, Gumby is his name, came up, and he's like, "I've heard that song before," and I just barely like written it down. I'm like, I don't think so. He's like, I heard that song when I was hiking up on the mountain hunting. He didn't like it was just kind of one of these weird things like, okay. But then we got talking, he's like, no, seriously, I've heard that like several times when I've been out in the mountains. And he says, and I'd called it Mountain Air, and he's like, that's what it sounds like. So the eagle singing. Maybe you saw the same eagle, right, Kim? So this one is for Gumby since he's not here with us. We've done that one together before, right? Yeah? We've never played that one together before, right?
Mm-mm.
So that's another one I sprung on him and he played. So anyway, that's a special song. This next one is kind of one of my very favorite Christmas. It's actually not a Christmas song. It's an original song called December Snow. But this one hit me one day when it was just kind of, the snow was just kind of hitting in that first, kind of like what we're getting now, but when it's a little bit prettier than what we've got right here now. So just kind of as you're listening to this, kind of listen for what it sounds like with that fresh coat of blanket of
We're
snow.
going to play September Rain after this.
September rain? We're past September rain. We were laughing. So we had Alex Sharp that was here. Or that was Wake Me Up When September Ends, right? So it's
Yeah.
September Rain. Alex from Celtic Woman was here, and she likes to know what she's going to sing, and I totally pulled like a curveball on her, and luckily my back was turned because, I mean, she probably shot daggers. But it was actually probably the coolest thing we had happen the whole concert with. She sang Wake Me Up When September Ends with the Green Day did, and she didn't hardly know the song at all. And she had there's a kid that was in a wheelchair that she brought him up and she sung with. It was so cool. So it was
really
way cool. So anyway, so this is December Snow. This is after the rain left. But John, this was another one. This is one of the few ones that I've actually done with a full orchestra as well. It was 76-piece Salt Lake Symphony played this. And
76 trombones.
yeah. Bunch of strings. It was so cool playing with the orchestra. A little intimidating though. So
I play with string players all the time.
what's that?
I play with string players all the time.
I know.
We're not that scary.
All right, here we go. So December Snow. So you've never played that one? So he's never even heard that song. I thought we'd done that one before. Okay, so you guys like hearing these like new songs? I've got a couple more of the new ones, or I could play some actual Christmas songs. You got who wants like something that's not finished? I got a couple of you.
Who wants notes on the page?
This one's really short. It's like this one's like 12 measures. So I'm gonna. So this one I right now.
I'll just let you play that one.
I'll do Free at Last.
What are we playing?
Free at Last. So this is another one I wrote at like 12, like it was after midnight. So again, there's bad notes and everything on here. But again, I think it's just fun for people to see, like, because they ask, like, how does this happen or how do you do that? Well, you muddle through it and you. Well, that's how it starts. But I honestly haven't written his part in for most of this. So you've got your first page. I actually wrote this as more of a violin solo with the piano backing him up. So that's what the first.
Where's my wife?
All right.
Breathe.
Oh, I need to get a drink now.
There she is. Okay, I gotta give my shout outs for the night.
You got it.
So I used to get asked all the time, how did I get where I was? I was just some scrawny kid growing up in Brigham City, and I playing on my Commodore 64, Dig Dug or Pac-Man. And I actually started playing the violin because of my big sister, because she was the violinist. I was kind of the computer geek at the time. And I thought it was cool because my big sister did it, and I thought my big sister was pretty cool. And for some reason, I took off on it. I think maybe it's because I was just so ADHD before they knew what it was. When I was in elementary school, I could not hold still, and my teachers would just say, just run around the school till you get tired. That was their cue, run around the school. So I ran around the school a lot. But I took to the violin a lot, and people always ask me, well, how did you get so good at it? It's like, talk to my mom. My mom is really the reason why I got where I did. My mom and my dad. My dad was kind of the silent cheerleader, and my mom was the one who made sure I was at my lessons, I was at my recitals, I was at my orchestra rehearsals and performances. My weekdays were usually Monday was my violin lesson, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday were symphony rehearsal up at Utah State, and Fridays were usually concerts or recitals. So when the bell rang at the end of the day, that's when my second life would usually start. And everybody else, as a kid, they were out riding their bikes, playing tag, and I was up in my bedroom practicing my violin. And woo. And my friends he was like, well, don't you regret not being able to, do that stuff when you guys like, no, I did it when I was older. I played tag and rode my bike, when I was in my 30s. So I don't regret it at all because it has let me do some of the neatest, most outstanding things I've ever been able to do in the world. But we were down at my folks, my wife and I, a couple weeks ago down, and they're down in southern Arizona. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. And that's when I got the news about the Grammy nomination. And it was so cool that I was able to be there with my folks when I found that out. And what is so neat also is, and she hates it when I do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. The reason I was in that position to get that Grammy nomination is because of my wife and my good friend Jason here. Because when I moved back here to Utah, it was because of these two that put me in the place where I was to make it happen. So thank you guys so much.
And thank goodness for moms that make their kids practice instruments. So if any of you have anybody that's on the fence of like, I want to quit lessons or knows a grandkid or kid, give them some motivation and encouragate.
Say, nope, you're going to practice.
Right?
I don't care.
I always tell kids all the time, especially if I get like teenage boys like that 7th and 8th grade, that's where they always seem to want to quit.
That's the hard one.
Oh,
That's
man.
the hard time.
And I still remember sitting at the piano in Soda Springs, Idaho, And Steve Osborne, my mom will remember, he came up. We having it out with my mom at the piano. I think I was trying to put on more of a show. Well, it would have been like 3rd or 4th grade. But I remember him, Steve, who was getting married to my cousin, came up and he says, Jason, girls like guys who play piano. And I was probably, 3rd or 4th grade when that happened. And I was like, girls are gross, you know? So I had like zero motivation at all. But it started.
They did not like the violin in elementary school, let me tell you. It was chick repellent.
I think you had a secret admirer all the way through school, probably, that just took longer for you to figure that out, right?
So my wife and I have been married 10 years, but known each other for 46.
Same high school and everything, right?
Same elementary, same primary, same Sunday school, same high school. It just took me a little while to figure it out.
Does that mean you're a little slow in the pickup?
I was really slow in the pickup. And trust me, I hear it at home too.
Think how she could have had you so much better trained if she'd had more
Oh
time.
my goodness.
Right? All right, so let's do this. This is an original tune that will stop after about page 2.5. But I honestly am doing this. I'm just putting this out there in the world because I want to get it done. And I think it's one of those where if you guys see him after, say, gosh, get with Jason and come get that. Because he hasn't been here since he was here for the last concert.
So last month.
I know, but we've gone like 6 months or more at a time without even playing.
That for you.
So we just need to get together more often to write more stuff. So here's Free at Last, and we're going to, remember this is the one we have a count coming in on this one. I don't have an intro for you, so you want to count us off?
How fast are we going?
1, 2, 3, go. One's got a little bit of potential, right? There's got a little. It's gonna need. That one needs some serious work still, but let's do. Want to do Deck the Halls, or you want to do Sister to Glocken, or what you feeling? Should you wake them up with some Deck the Halls?
How about Mary Poppins Meets I Wonder?
That one's like depressing and sad though.
It's pretty.
We haven't even practiced that since last year though.
So it's just right.
Okay, do you want Deck the? Do you want to hear Deck the Halls, or do you want to hear I Wonder As I Wander mashed up with Mary Poppins theme? Yeah. So when I was doing this one, if you try to figure out where the song came from, it's really controversial and where it came from. And essentially, there's a story about some little kid being on like an apple crate and singing this song out in the square, and then some guy heard it and went and wrote home and wrote it. So we almost need like the Fiddler on the Roof thing that you could stand on the crate, right? All right, he gets to show off a little bit. I have no notes on here, so I'm just gonna.
Oh, is this all me?
Well, yeah, that's why you wanted it, didn't it? Let's just have fun with this now. Okay, so we've got, what's that?
What are we doing?
We'll give them the choice. So votes. So deck the halls, or we can do consider the lilies.
Deck the lilies.
Deck the lilies. Maybe both of them. Should we wake you up first? Yes. All right.
Which
deck the
ones?
halls it is.
Do I
Who's
have
one,
deck the
my one? Who's my one person that said deck the halls?
Where's deck the halls?
Deck the
Do
halls.
I have deck the halls? Oh yeah, I have
you
deck
got
the halls.
All right, here we go.
Wait, okay.
I gotta get ready for this one. Here we go. All right, so next we wanted to do Deck the Lilies. That's not a Christmas song either.
So how many of you guys are familiar with Consider the Lilies? Okay, so this has kind of got a personal family story with me. Does anybody know who wrote this song? Besides Jason? Roger Hoffman. So, this was before my time.
He's still alive.
Well, yeah. So this was back in Tecumseh, Michigan, when Roger Hoffman was a young man. My mother was his first piano teacher. So when Jason and I were doing this arrangement of it, I wrote to Roger and let him know that we were doing this, and he sent me like this 4-page letter of the story of how the song came to be, and it's just always considered a family song for me.
We need to get that in our hymn stories book.
By the way,
You never shared that with me.
Really?
So, I know it's a little bit of the story, but
yeah.
all right, maybe there's a hymns 3 month. All right, Consider the Lilies. We're doing these songs that I haven't played in a year. We've totally changed up our thing, but here goes, right? let it run one time. You got any more you want to do tonight at all? We probably got time for maybe 2 more. You guys tired and ready to go home and go sleep? Or you're okay?
Did we dare try a million?
Do Million Dreams?
That's right.
You guys want to? Okay, so here we go. Million Dreams, or a hymn you've probably never heard of, but is really pretty. Well, we got to end with Silent Night, so that's the one we got to finish on. But you want to do Million Dreams?
What we talked about.
You want me to do what we talked about? So usually when we play this, I have not practiced this song because this is not usually a Christmas song, so I'm not prepared at all. We keep
He
changing.
wears a red coat.
Yeah. So anyway, normally what happens is when we get going on this, it gets. Is anybody who plays piano in here? Has anybody ever heard the term "speed kills"? My piano teacher over here. Like usually what happens is like this train, and you get going so fast when you're running down a hill, and then you like trip over yourself and break your arm. That's what usually happens to us when we do this, right? Or at least happens to me. You're usually fine. You just smile and you're like, all right, come on. Anyway, we're gonna try pulling it
See,
back.
I've only got 4 strings.
Yeah.
And I gotta make all those notes.
All right.
With
I'm gonna
4
close
fingers.
my eyes so I can see a world waiting in front of
4
me. Here we go.
fingers and 4 strings. That's it.
All right. So I'm still gonna pick it up a little bit.
All
Once
right.
we'll bump that back a little bit. gonna say no to that one, so I won't do that one.
Which one's that?
It's best we don't. I don't think we'll do that one, but the one I want to do, we were playing it earlier tonight. It was the first time you'd heard it or kind of played it. So I have a new.
You gotta narrow it down.
I have a new favorite hymn. Well, one of my new favorite hymns. So this one is another one that I just found out of the blue. It's, so far as I can tell, it's never been sung by the Tabernacle Choir, and the words to it are probably the coolest of any song out there. Essentially, what it is, it's called "Teach Me Thy Way, O Lord," and it was written by.
I have no idea which one you were talking about.
Okay, now you know the one.
I know.
All right, so we got it. But the guy that wrote it, if I'm not, fix me if I'm wrong, Mom, but essentially his son, he lived in England. His son went away in World War I, got injured, and did come back, but was in hospitals, was in and out multiple times. Yep. So traumatic brain injury, they didn't know, I mean, obviously World War I, they probably didn't even know what that was, or didn't even have a name for it at that point, but eventually, I think it was a year or two later, he ended up passing away and he died. The son did. And I think all of us have probably had things that have happened in our life where, you know, you just wonder why in the world did this happen, or, you know, that person was really good, why did that happen? And the whole song premise is this prayer that this guy essentially wrote, asking, instead of like complaining and saying, well, here's the way I think it should go. It says, "Teach me thy way, O Lord." But the words, it says, actually, I'm on the wrong. Do you have red marks on yours, or is it? I'm trying to see if I've got that. What's that?
That was the old one.
Yeah, so that's the one I have on here. So hang on. I got to get the right version of it, or it's going to cut off halfway through the song. So I know it's, no, I'm looking for the music. So let's see. Teach me thy way, O Lord. Piano solo. Where it is.
My prayer.
All right, I got it right now. So, oh, mine's got red marks all over it.
Mine doesn't.
Do you want the words to it? It's right here.
I want the music first before I try to play it. So it's 5 pages, but the one I've got is 3 pages that's showing up on here. I might have to have you send it back to me, John. 1 second.
Oh, shoot.
You think you're prepared, and then you aren't, right? So teach me. It's one of the prettiest. There it is, right there.
Got it?
I got it now.
Okay. Trying to airdrop it to you.
So it says, "Teach me thy way, O Lord, hear thou my prayer." And I kind of envision this dad essentially, you know, almost like a Jean Valjean moment from Les Mis, where he's like, you know, listen to my prayer. It says, "Thy guiding grace afford, teach me thy way. Help me to walk aright, more by faith, less by sight. Lead me with heavenly light, teach me thy way." Next verse is, "When I'm sad at heart, teach me thy way. When earthly joys depart, teach me thy way. In hours of loneliness, in times of dire distress, in failure or success, teach me thy way." And then it finishes up, "When doubts and fears arise, teach me thy way. When storms o'erspread the skies, teach me thy way. Shine through the cloud and rain, through sorrows, toil, and pain. Make thou my pathway clear, teach me thy way." And then it finishes up, "As long as my life shall last, teach me thy way. Where'er my lot be cast, teach me thy way. Until the race is run, until the journey is done, until the crown is won, teach me thy way." And then, so anyway, it was one of those where I've shared this with a lot of people when it gets sung or you see the words, and if you think of that trial you've had or the hard thing you're going through, you know, looking at life as like, you know, teach me your way. A lot of times we don't, I mean, there's a lot of things that we don't understand that happen to us or other family members or friends, and I think it's important to just kind of step back and, rather than thinking we know what the answer is or how it should be, maybe change our prayers a little bit to maybe be shown the Lord's way. So, and you're going to make something up on this one, right? So there's no violin part on this one either. But if you've got your phones and you want to go look this up, it's "Teach Me Thy Way" by Mansell Ramsey. Follow along. That isn't that one that needs like the full orchestra and the
Oh.
choir singing. That's just
The big swell.
ah, it's just got that
The tear.
feel to it. All right, well, we're overtime already. You guys, you saying good? Do you want to just what do you want to do? So I want to finish with Silent Night, but
Have we done No Holy Night yet?
yeah, we did that one.
We did. Okay. So Silent Night.
Should we just finish up with Silent Night, or you want to make something up just for fun?
I've been doing that all night.
So you want? Okay, so we're gonna play fair. All right, here. You don't like music? I'll do no music. We'll just do one for fun. Follow me.
You gonna tell me the key?
Huh?
You gonna tell me the key, or am I gonna guess?
We'll keep it simple. Let's go C. Oh, it's easy.
Alright.
Boring C, right? All right. I need like a scene to play. What's a? Should we do like the sitting by the campfire type or the fire type of feel or?
Your flavor.
All right. I'm gonna go. We're gonna go skiing a little bit. Snow basin with some snow. All right. We gotta hang on. I got this.
I have no idea.
I don't know what I'm gonna do either.
those years of theory paid off.
Not where it was made up, right?
Yeah.
So, well, let's finish up. I know. So I always like finishing with this Silent Night version. I actually wrote this in a pinch. gosh, it's been almost 15 years ago. So I got asked to be part of the FM 100 concert series that they do down at the malls, and they broadcast. And so rather than just being a piano guy playing by myself for that, I got a gal to come and sing with me, but she wanted to have, but I didn't have any arrangements that I'd done at all for anybody to sing to yet. And so I think I wrote this in an afternoon, and luckily it's pretty, it's one that's become probably one of my favorite Christmas versions of Silent Night that I've got. So last year when we were here for the first time, actually you were the first concert I had here ever, right? So it was a year ago. So is it 1 year to the day when we had our first concert here? So this is like the 1 year anniversary of our very first concert in the studio, which is kind of cool. But what was neat is everybody kind of hummed along, and so if you want to sing the words, great. If you want to just hum along, but it sounded like it just echoed in here. It was really cool. So as we finish up, I just want to say thank you for coming. Tell your friends about this though, and I don't want to grow this to be too big though, because like if we can only fit about 70 people is our most we've got in here, but it's just a cool venue, and it sounds pretty good in here, right?
House concerts are fun because they're intimate. I can see people singing along, humming, tapping their foot, maybe bringing their sweetheart in with a hug. I love these. You get to connect a lot more than when you're on a big stage. Not that I don't like playing on a big stage, but this is neat.
It's just fun, and what's been really neat is I've been able to see a lot of friends that it's been a long time. I mean, Mike, when was the last time we saw each other at like a class reunion? And before that was probably at graduation, when he was actually the guy that was playing. Wrote the symphony for the whole band to play, right? That was awesome. So he's a super talented guy over there.
I had a couple friends that came last year, and one I had not seen in over 30 years.
Yeah.
And it was, both of them I hadn't seen in person I graduated in 90, so maybe 30 plus. But these are great because sometimes I don't see anybody I know. Other times I see people I haven't seen for forever. So.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully the sound and audio's everything's been good out on Facebook. So I know we've got a lot of comments. It's one that I was kind of smiling about that came in. I can't see the name on it now, but
my mom.
What's that?
It's probably my mom.
It was not your mom. So my mom's sitting here, so it couldn't have been her. But the one thing that's been really fun is for years, and you're probably one of them that I think told me, man, well, you just do some easier arrangements of some of your songs. And I had to do like 12 or 13 books before I actually listened, and I did my first easier songbook of hymns. And we've sold thousands and thousands of these books, which I didn't ever, my thought was, like when you make it too easy, it sounds empty. But one of the songs I played tonight was right out of that Easier Christmas songbook, which nobody'd ever know. And I think one of the things that's been neat is just trying to make the songs sound full, but without making them really complicated and have to practice, because I'm not super practiced very often. So
when I went down to my folks a couple weeks ago, I had taken those hymn arrangements and the easy ones down for my mom, and she just screamed. She just thought they were the neatest things she had ever seen. So
well,
people love them.
Well,
They really do.
somebody even commented on the feed tonight that they're like, "Hey, I'm a grandma and I'm learning to play piano and I can do it, and it sounds good. It sounds full." So anyway, if you think you're too old to do piano lessons, you're not. I've got 80-year-old people that are using and being successful with the easier songbooks for sure. Yep. So anyway, so thank you again for coming. Come talk with me after. I know that we've got books. If you want to buy a book or you want a whole bunch, we'll cut you like crazy deals right now, because I'd rather than have inventory carryover. Come, let's make a deal after. But if you can, let's
crazy, Larry. Going out of business.
And for anybody that's online on my website, I think we're going to pull it down on Monday. But if you want to order the brand new, the green hymn book, we're not the only place you can find them. I'm just giving you a secret. So, or you can get it here. But this brand new one, we're doing a buy one get two free. And normally it's a $29 book, and so you're getting them for $10 a piece. Which again, I'm going to take it down. I haven't really been promoting it a whole lot, but now if you're watching, you get the insider scoop on that. So. We'll wrap up with Silent Night that I originally did at the FM 100 concert, but I think it sounds pretty good with the violin on it too.
I
So.
think it does too.
And make sure you sing along or hum along, because it sounds really cool when you guys are doing that. Here we go. Okay, before everybody goes, we got to get a big picture with everybody in front of the piano too. So we've taken a picture at every one of our events so far. So we'll turn the lights on, and everybody out in internet land, if it's not closed out, thank you again. We're doing another one of these on Thursday that we'll do with Glenn Ross and telling stories. And when we do him, I think we've got like 10 tickets left. If you want to come back and do that one, he literally gets up and he starts telling a story, and I have to make something up. I don't even most of the time know the story he's going to tell. So it's kind of like the live action theater from the 1920s with the organ guy, only piano guy. So if you want to, all the tickets are at tonyoli.com, or come talk to me after and we'll do that too. So thank you. Well, let's get everybody for a picture without tripping on any chords.